This is a video on how to trace clip art in Corel. We're going to start with pulling up an art file that we have in our database. I'll click Open in the upper left-hand corner. I'll click on USB drive E so that it can gather from all of the different years of files that we have. Now I'll go up to the upper right in the search USB drive E and I'll type in Tiger. You can see it immediately pulls up Tiger clip art. I'll double click on that image to open it. Now, it's very common for a customer to send us a clip art image and want us to separate it out and print it as a multiple color design. However, a bitmap is set in such a way that it cannot be printed as separate colors unless we turn it into vector art. The difference between a bitmap and vector art is how the art is comprised in the computer. Bitmap art is comprised of pixels, which are tiny squares that form together, tiny squares of different colors that form together to create a composite image. Vector is made out of different shapes that don't have squares, but instead they have lines that are true to the piece of artwork. Because vector has separate shapes, you can select one shape and change its color while leaving another shape within the image alone. This is critical for us in screen printing because we have to be able to separate out the art by different colors. One color goes in one screen, another color goes in another screen. In the case of this art, we can see that we have four colors. One is black, one is orange, one is white, one is pink. Each of those will have to have its own screen in order for us to print this on a gray shirt like our customer wants. Now, how can you tell if an image is vector or bitmap? Well, one way is that I can click on the image and it will give me a description of the image in the bottom part of my computer monitor here where it says bitmap RGB on layer 72 by 72. So it tells me automatically that I have a bitmap. Another way is that using my scroll in feature on my mouse, I can scroll into the art and I see that as it becomes larger and larger, the lines become quite blurry. That's normal for a bitmap. Vector, the lines will not become blurry. Instead, they will remain truly sharp lines because instead of it just being comprised of multiple pixels, vector clip art is the true shapes themselves. I'm going to take this bitmap and convert it into vector art. So the first thing that I'm going to do is duplicate my art over. I always like to keep the original copy of my art ready to look at when I need it. So I will grab my art with a left click, drag it to the side. While still keeping left click, I will right click, and then I will release both. Now I have a duplicate. I can pan to the left or to the right by clicking on my mouse wheel, and you can see the little hand icon appears, and I can pan to the side. Now I have two copies of my artwork. I'm going to convert this one to vector. So first I click on the image. Next I will go up and click on Trace Bitmap. I will scroll down to the third option which says Outline Trace. I'll go to the side and come down to the fourth option, which is Clip Art, and click on that. It'll automatically begin to trace. On the top, you see the original image. On the bottom, you see the traced image, and I'm able to quickly discern whether it was accurate to the original image or not. In this case, we've lost a little bit of detail with his whiskers, but we've kept pretty much everything else. So this will be a good trace for us. I'm going to say, okay. Now we can see, it actually overlays it over my original design. So I'll delete out my extra bitmap, clicking on it and pressing delete on my keyboard. And then I can take a closer look at my design. It came out pretty well. So I'm going to now convert these colors to printable colors, but we'll catch up on that in the next video.